So welcome to the area of study belonging. We are going to be unpacking the syllabus requirements, so it's going to be great if you have a copy of the prescription for the area of study in front of you. Okay, so begins with, in the area of study, students explore and examine relationships between language and text. So this is about how does language affect text and their meaning. So what is the relationship between language and meaning and text? How does the use of language in this text affect its meaning, especially looking at belonging? So we're also looking at interrelationships among texts. So this tells us that we have to integrate texts together. We cannot just talk about one text by itself. We're talking about how texts relate to each other under the banner of our area of study, so under belonging. How do they relate to each other to create new understandings of belonging? That means you're going to be comparing, contrasting and synthesizing. So they examine closely the individual qualities of text. So that means the things about that text alone. So similar to what we've done in your close study of a text, thinking about that text alone, but we also need to be considering the text relationship to the wider context of the area of study. So how does this text relate to the area of study? We are looking at the text, but this isn't a close study. This is an area of study. So we're looking at an idea and we're looking at how that idea is represented through text. So students, that's you, synthesize ideas to clarify meaning. Okay, that means that you are weaving your ideas together to emphasize the meaning, to figure out what the meaning is. You are refining what you feel the meaning is by synthesizing ideas. And you're going to develop new meanings as well. So you're going to figure out what your understanding of the area of study is through looking at a number of texts and how they're presenting ideas. You also need to take into account other aspects such as blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that just means you're evaluating. You're evaluating whether that textual integrity kind of stuff is appropriate to the particular text. It's gone blue because this is about belonging in particular. So this area of study requires students to explore the way in which the concept of belonging is represented in and through text. That is self-explanatory. Okay, you are looking at belonging and how it's shown in text. This is about perception. This area of study is heavily focused on perception, and you need to focus on it as well. What I mean by perception is the way that people view things and relate to things. So how do people view and relate to belonging? So perceptions of belonging and not belonging are different for different people. So perceptions of who belongs and who doesn't belong. So you might feel like you belong, but somebody else in that group might think you do not. So what makes someone belong? Okay, people might have different understandings of what makes someone belong somewhere. Like we have different understandings of maybe what makes us Australian. Maybe the person down the street from me has a totally different idea of what it means to be Australian, because it's about perceptions of belonging and whether it's positive or negative to belong. So one person might think it's really, really positive to belong to a Christian group, while another person might think that that's actually quite negative. Okay, so it's your perception of that belonging. And also your perceptions of belonging is shaped within your context. Okay, this is important. Everything we think and feel and believe is always impacted by our political, cultural, historical and social situation, who we are, when we're living. So if you're living in the 1500s, your perceptions of belonging are different to people now, right? So even if you think about religion, we would see Christians as belonging to, that Christian religion. You're a religious person, that's a broad group. But maybe in the 1500s, it's not that way. There's very, very strict rules about who belongs and who doesn't. So our perceptions of belonging are shaped by our context as well. So like, again, my concept of where I belong might be different to somebody else's because of how I've been brought up. So a sense of belonging can also emerge from connections made with people, places, groups, the larger world, and your own identity. So this is about how do we form our sense of belonging. You need to focus on how are we forming our sense of belonging. Okay, we can belong to people. Okay, your boyfriend or your mum and dad, sibling relationships, that's a belonging relationship. A place, your house, your bedroom, your car, where's your favourite place to be? And why do you belong there? Why do you feel like when you go there, you just feel like you belong? Maybe it's a childhood holiday place. Groups and communities. When we're in a room full of people that we feel like we're in a community with them or we're in a group, we get that sense that we belong somewhere, that we fit in somewhere. The larger world, this is a bigger one, obviously, larger world, excellent, well done, Miss Stunning. Global citizenship, right? We're increasingly in a globalized world. The internet is making everything available globally. So how do we belong to that world? How do we fit into that world? How do we see ourselves in it? And then your identity, belonging to yourself. So do I feel that what I do or what I believe is right? Do the things that I do fit in with my moral codes? Do I feel like I belong to my own understanding of the world? Is that my integrity? Yeah? So these are the things that can impact on our sense of belonging. You need to be thinking about when you're looking at text. How a sense of belonging to all these things being explored. So texts explore many aspects of belonging, including, but not limited to, potential of an individual to enrich or challenge a community or group. So that's the impact of the individual on the group. Do they improve the group? Okay, through their contributions to that group, do they improve it? Do they make things better? Do they oppose it? Do they force change? Do they challenge the assumptions? Think about people like Galileo, changing assumptions, changing what we believe from inside a group, but also being an outsider. He's opposing a group. Is he enriching it, challenging it? Also, attitudes towards belonging can change over time. So the way that, like I was talking about the 1500s, their ideas of who belonged to the Christian religion and our ideas is different. Time has changed that, but also things like growing up and the strength of our belonging. So when we're a little kid, our strong belonging is to our mother and father, but maybe when we're a bit older, it's to our children and our partner. Choices not to belong. Why do people not want to belong to things? Have they been rejected before? Do they not trust things? Do they not like something about that group? And barriers to belonging. So what stops people from belonging? Is it rules? Are those rules formal or informal? So that means, are they written down rules, like you can only belong to our club if X, Y, and Z? Or is it informal rules, like peer groups and social groups, those kind of rules? So perceptions and ideas of belonging in text can be just constructed through a variety of language modes, forms, features, and structures. That's self-explanatory. What we're looking at is how perceptions and ideas of belonging are constructed in text through techniques. So in engaging with text, you are going to need to think about whether you belong to the world of the text as well. Okay, so this is affective responding, personal responding. Do I belong to this text? Is this my world as well? Do I feel like this is a place that I understand and I get? And why? And what's the effect of that? How does that affect us as responders? So this is also going to be impacted, by the way, different perspectives may be prominent or absent from the text. So do I feel like I belong to the text because the person, the speaker of the text, the persona is a young woman and so am I? Or a female voice is totally not represented and so I feel I do not belong to this text. In your responses, you need to look at how the concept of belonging is conveyed. You need to look at the assumptions underlying the representation of belonging. You need to look at the effect of composers' choice of technique. So that's technique and effect. Remember, that is very important. Your own experiences. Respond affectively, please. The way in which your study of belonging can help you understand the world and yourself. Again, so how is this helping you? Okay, how is this changing your personal idea of belonging to the world and to yourself as well? How are you understanding your world? Are you understanding yourself better? So that's basically what our syllabus is requiring us to do. It is quite complex, but it's quite a large area. You think about belonging, big area, but it allows us to do a lot with it as well. So please enjoy your fantastic belonging unit. Don't forget to do your whisk.